Hi everyone. So in the previous video, what we had concentrated on is looking at the ice damage because of heat loss of bathroom fans, or even around the bathroom area. Now today we will be expanding a little bit on that, as well as looking at some of the key aspects to connect your bathroom fan and make sure that it is as efficient as possible to exhaust that hot air outside and not back into your attic. The first thing that I want to mention about the actual bathroom fan box is it needs to have a plastic cover, as well as at least insulated above with an R32. If you have an existing home, I would definitely recommend looking to make sure that your bathroom fan is connected, because if it is not connected, then you have the potential to blow away all of the insulation that would be insulating your bathroom fan every time you turn on your bathroom fan. So what you want to do is you want to reconnect it with a screw as well as tape to air seal that area. The second part is the exhaust. The exhaust should never be left exhausting into the attic. It should be exhausting outside, so either through the soffit, as you can see here. There are also other models that exhaust at the roof, or you can exhaust on the side of the house if you have a gable wall. All attachments for all three of those options are definitely available at your local hardware store. Now I'll be talking a little bit more here about the exhaust hose. Some houses I've seen, the exhaust hose is rigid and therefore it won't move when installed. Whereas with the flexible one, if for whatever reason the connection is loosened, then it can blow unconnected. The force of the exhaust air can disconnect the hose further, and then the exhaust completely blows out. Whereas with the rigid one, it wouldn't do that if it's properly connected. The second thing that I want to mention is, even for the rigid or the flexible one, you definitely want to wrap it with insulation. And above that, I would then further go on to say the exhaust should then be covered with at least 1 foot of loose fill insulation. A lot of problems with the exhaust hose is if it is not covered with an additional amount of insulation, the actual R value for the wrapping is not, in my opinion, efficient enough to resist that heat transfer that would then melt the snow directly above the roof. The thing that you most definitely want to be focused on is the exhaust hose portion if you're going with a soffit model, because the roof just directly above the exhaust hose is really close, and so you definitely want to make sure that that portion is insulated, or else you could have a excess amount of melting, which then creates ice if it is -10 or so outside. Here I've got a good picture of what can happen if you have excess heat loss, so you can see that the underside of the plywood is wet. That happens because the outside temperature is cold in the winter, and so then the intake air is cold to get into the attic. But then if you have a lot of heat loss that's coming from your house and then into your attic, it's actually melting that potential frost that's building up on the underside of your roof, especially if you don't have a lot of airflow. And then what happens is then that melted frost then melts and drops onto your insulation. Your insulation gets ruined and soaked, and then that further goes through and into your house. The other thing as well is, if you have heat loss, the underside of your roof will get mold buildup, and so that's always never a good thing for air quality. Alright, so with that, I'm going to end it there. Make sure to definitely give that nice thumbs up and press that subscribe button as well in order to not miss any further videos. The next video that I'm going to be working on next week is going to be focused on the safety in the attic. So respiratory masks that I use personally, gloves, knee pads, as well as how you maneuver around the attic, and what you need to bring to work safely.